In this video, we will spawn some trees on our terrain. Let's get back to the graph editor. Select your biome, then click on the Edit/Sync button. To output trees to the terrain, we need to create a tree output node. Press space bar on with your mouse over the graph view, then search for tree output. Press enter. The tree output node requires a collection of points for tree's position, which is the yellow slot here. We will use a points node to generate some and plug it directly to the tree output node. Next, you have to assign a tree template asset to your tree output node. To create one, right-click on the project window, then select Create/Vista/Tree Template. In the inspector, drop a tree prefab into this slot. There are other settings for Unity and Polaris Tree for you to play with. I will leave them as default for now. Finally, drop the tree template asset to the tree output node. Save the graph and back to the scene view. You may want to increase the tree render distance to see them better. Now we will make the trees denser. Select the points node and decrease its spacing so we can have a few more points. Next, I will create a spread node and insert it into the middle of the points in tree output node by dropping it on this yellow edge. Set the count to its maximum at 15 and play with the distance value. You want more trees? Add another spread node and play with it, but beware of the performance. Save and back to the scene view. Wow, that's a lot of trees. I think I will remove the second spread node. Now we have trees growing everywhere, which is unnatural. I only want them to grow at low altitude in a plain area where it has green color. Let's do that. To remove trees, we need a thin out node. Press spacebar, search for the node, select it and enter. Drop it here. The thin out node requires a mask where it will remove points at dark or black pixels. We will mask out the low altitude area first. In the last video, we have created a variable for our height map. Let's go for that. Connect the height map to a geometry mask node. In the geometry mask node, enable the height. I will lower the max height value a bit. Let's reset the transition curve. You can see that we can't move the min height to lower than 0, so no matter what we do, this area will always be excluded from the mask because its altitude is lower than 0. To fix that, we need to add a clamp node here to ensure it is in the correct range. That's it. Now I will adjust the transition curve to have the mask fade out at high altitude. Next, enable the slope option to mask out the plane area. Similar to height masking, we will drop the maximum angle and adjust the transition curve. Plug it to the thin out node and see what happens. Nice. Save the graph and back to the scene view. You can see that trees now grow at low altitude and low steepness. However, some trees still grow on the yellow sand texture, which is not what we want. We want them to only grow on the green texture. Let's do it. Up here, we've output a texture layer for our green grass texture. We can use it to select the green area. Let's create a variable for it. Go back down and read that variable with the get variable node. Next, multiply the geometry mask and the grass mask with combine node. Plug the result to the thin out node. Let's see what happens. Not much. We need to adjust our grass mask with a levels node. Increase the in-low to exclude dark pixels, then decrease in high to highlight bright pixels. We did it! They don't grow on sand anymore. Okay, here you can see that I've switched to another tree prefab to have better quality. Vista allows you to output as many tree types as you want. In this scene, I have another tree type which is smaller and mostly grows in these trenches of the mountain. Let's take a real quick look at how I do it. First, I create a new tree template for the new tree here. Going back to the texturing section of the graph, we already had the erosion map 1 and water map which are suitable for masking the trenches. I will use the water map. Similar to the last tree type, we generate some points, then spread them to make them look denser. After that, use the thin out node with the mask from our water map. We also need to adjust the water map with the levels node. Finally, spread them again to increase their population. I used a very small distance value to make sure they don't spread too far. Don't forget to assign the tree template to your tree output node. And here's the result. That's it. That's how you can spawn trees with Vista.